Hi everyone, Kip here again from a lovely humid Taiwan. Hope everyone is doing okay, keeping up with some art. Just decided to do something with watercolor this evening and show you how I go about doing one or two things that I've learnt over the time that I've been doing watercolor. I have put videos out with regards to doing rocks, and yeah, so I thought I'd just go through a couple of things that I use. I have a number of brushes. I bought a set of brushes from Terry Harrison, who was one of my instructors for watercolor. Bought a couple of his CDs and things. This brush here is what I use for trees, the foliage on the trees. I also use a sponge, comes in pretty handy. Number of different brushes that I have for watercolor. The big one for doing heavy washes, script liners, etc. that I have here, that I use for the different pieces of work that I do. So I thought we'd work on this. This is a large size 300 gram watercolor paper, and I'll just do a few vignettes on this. This is my palette. Not working with limited colors here, although I do sometimes only use certain colors. Basically only need 6 tubes altogether, but as you go on further you may want to expand and put extra color into your palette. So I thought I'd start with the usual goodie. I'm using a flat brush, and we're going into yellow ochre, and I'm going to use my card again this evening. So yellow ochre, fairly wet brush, and just pop in some shapes onto this. I think I'll go for something with a bit of blue in it. You do need to make sure that this stays wet on the paper. Don't make it too wet that you are unable, or that it just runs all over the place. You can see this one's actually drying out pretty quickly, so I need to work a bit faster. I have the aircon on and it is very humid here today, so let me just get that in. And then got some Payne's grey. That was indigo that I put on. Put in some Payne's grey, and let's see what we can do with our brush. Getting a nice granite color. Indigo, Payne's grey, with my yellow ochre as the base, bit of blue, indigo and Payne's grey, and this is what I've got going here. Giving quite a nice blue grey colour to it. And what we can do now is we can add in some water, so go for some blue again. And leaving some open, giving us a nice little pond here. We can just remove some of this, pop in some to there, and then we just need to fix up underneath this rock. So go back in there with start with this yellow ochre, not too wet this time. Some Van Dyke brown. Just need to get that a bit wetter. Van Dyke brown. I'll change this into this area into rock. So this time I'm going to use the grey. Some indigo, because it's darker and closer to the water. Just pop that in. Okay, and then back to the good old card again. And we're going to leave it rather dark near the bottom. A couple of small ones here and there. Okay, and let's see if we can just pop in some foliage. So some of this olive green that I have, and pop in a little bit of foliage. Okay, that's one way of doing grass. The other way is using this brush. a lot bigger, but it also has an angle to it, and get some of the olive green on here. And just put in a bit of green interest. At the back. Touch of water on that. Let that dried off. And let's just put some more in here. And well, that's a little waterfall and rock vignette. Very little effort in order to do that. I'm going to move on to doing something with mountains down here. So I go back to my flat brush. Now in watercolor we work from light to dark, not like acrylics where we do it the other way around. So I think what I want to do, put in a bit of sky. Just hope this brush doesn't have any other ideas, because I need some tissue paper. Yeah, still a lot of green in there. Let's just get that off from the previous bit of painting. Get that off here. And want some blue. So I think this one is ultramarine blue. And put in some sky. Let's get it a bit darker at the top. Be careful with the splattering. Get some darker sky in, and then can lift out some cloud using a dry brush. Hints of cloud there. Okay, I'll put that brush back into the water, and I want to do something in the background. So we'll work rather carefully here, because this paint over here is still wet, and I'm starting to get paint running in there. Not that it's an issue, because once it's dry I can use it for bush. So just bringing in to lighten this off. These are just vignettes, so just to show you what one could do with watercolor. And you can use anything, any type of watercolor for this. The El Cheapo works just as well. Obviously it has an effect on how long it lasts, because professional paint will have a longer lifespan on the actual paint itself, what we call archival quality. Can't talk this evening. Get my water. Right, so now I want to bring up the colors a bit, so I'm going to go with some red. Mix up a nice reddy color, add in some yellow ochre to that. You can add in a touch of blue, and that's going to take you to a nice brown, different to the Van Dyke brown. I want this too wet, and so I'm going to bring in something over here. As I said, we work from light to dark, so and cool color to warm color, and this got it red in it, so red is my warm color. And so I just need to get this on here as quickly as possible. And I'm going to pop some black onto this and see what we can come up with. So let's get some of that Van Dyke grey onto this. And then black. Sorry, Payne's grey, not Van Dyke grey. It's Payne's grey. Getting mixed up with the colours here. So it happens when you use a whole lot of colours, eh? Anyway, here we go. See what we can scrape one or two things out here. Right. I'll put some foliage on here, so back into my olive green, and my card, and I'm going to use it and see what we can do. Pop in a distant row of trees. I'll take a photo and put this into the video as well, because I can see it's a little bit difficult to see those trees at the back there. And just fill up a bit of grass, something a little bit darker underneath there, and get in the shape of the hill. Couple more trees on this side. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that like that. I'm going to move over to another side and do something different over here. To go with some blue and indigo and grey. See what I can come up with in terms of rocks. Like I say, these are all vignettes. I might do maybe two or four more, not sure. Right, so I've got some indigo. Let's make it something interesting, an interesting shape of some kind. Get some more water on that. Okay, and then get some blue in there. And goes the blue. And I think I'm going to add, this is one of the reds. And then some Payne's Grey on top of that, and black to round it off. And let's see what we can come up with here in terms of a little rock face. So let's see what we can do. There's sun coming from that side, so I'm going to have to work this way. That's going to give a nice bluish grey with a touch of red in it. And the red is ever so subtle. Nice mishmash of rocks. Maybe just bring it down even further. Use that as a reflection. So sorry if I'm moving out the way there, but getting back into this here now, and getting some, I think maybe go with some this greeny, it's got a nice green that I've got here. It's that watery green, dirty watercolor. So I think I'll pop some of that. Just need a touch of water on there, and we'll bring that across. Pop in some blue. Give it a bit of a watery effect. Right. Lighten this up a bit. using water just to take off a layer of paint. Gives a little bit of that sparkle, well, shine on top of the water. And I'm going to use my Chinese brush here. This is the one I use for the watercolor, so I want to get some yellow ochre on this. More water on here. Just pop in that little bit of interest behind the rock. Some of the grey, touch of black. Right. And just a bit of interest on the one side. I'll just pop some green over here. And what I can do when I find it, if I can find it, I don't have my black pen here. What I could do is I could put in some lines onto the tree to give it some more definition. Now I just need to find a black pen, which I don't have close by. Oh, one moment, it's over there. Perfect. Found it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add in some texture that is still a bit wet on the bottom. Just add in some texture using this black, and this is specifically for drawing. This is pigmented ink, acid-free, non-toxic, waterproof, archival quality. I'll get it right. Just add in some texture to give it a better look. And to round off that edge. Still a bit wet, so pen's taking a bit of strain. Need to clean the pen off because this thing gets blocked if the paint is still wet, which it is. Anyway, let's pop in some edge onto. I need my pen to dry out a bit more. Well, we'll leave the pen now, let that dry out a bit. I'll show you some trees or foliage using the sponge. Quite handy. And I think we'll just put in couple of spots here and there. I actually need some water on this. I need some more water, yeah. Some more of this. And okay, just an example of what you can do with a sponge. Not perfect, but just for demo purposes, good fun. Okay, I think my last one I'm going to do over here, and doing a proper mountainside using the principle of cooler to warmer colors. So I'm going to go with as diluted as possible blue. So it's got quite a bit of water in it, And let's just do distant mountain. Need some more water there. Distant mountain. And as we come a bit closer, we need to go darker. And here I'm going to add indigo into the mix. Back one is still wet. So I'm going to have to wait for that top piece to get sorted. Well, there we go. Looking better now. Getting some cooler colors there, and I think we're going to add a bit dark. There we are. Build up the side of the mountain. And I want to do the same here, even though it's further back. Just drop that in, and on the side as well. And we'll just keep it just make this touch darker because I want it to stand out a bit, and I want to see if we can do some rock face on this. So just add something a touch darker here, and then work it away with a card. So let's see what you can do here. Okay, that's that side. Now the other side. I'll use my smaller brush. And some of that blue. Go lighter on this side because this being the side where the light is. Just need to get something a little bit darker in there. Add in some spots. Okay, so light blue, dark blue, now something nice and warm in the front. So I'm going to go with this synthetic brush here. And I think we're going to mix up a reddy brown color. To go in at the base of this mountain, and we'll take that color and just work it around the other side as well. Just get a bit of continuity into this, so that it doesn't look all too cold. Let's see if we can just pop in a little bit of interest here. So we need to darken this up. Pop some blue in there. That was almost a boo-boo. Yeah, just to give you an idea of the mountains, not really specifically going for anything fancy here, just to give you the shape and the color of the mountain. We have the light side, the dark side, a light over there, dark going further back, so that the blue is a lot lighter than the darker color up here in the front. Even though this is blue, it still gives you that depth. Now I'm just going to build something up here in the front quickly, because we need to balance out here. So putting in some and that will give us just a little rocky outcrop here. Okay, so 4 pieces, just to give you an idea of how things work in watercolor. 4 relatively easy techniques to do, using the card, using a brush, using a pen, using sponge, using different types of brushes. We can get in varying detail onto our, let's just bring that up a bit closer, okay, so that you can see what that looks like. I will take a photo and pop it in. Let's just move that over. Okay, and I need to take a photo and pop that into the video as well. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, and tomorrow's Friday. Have an excellent weekend. Cheers.